There is a massive $80 billion lie that's being sold to runners every day, every single year. It's an idea so deeply woven into running culture that we don't even think to question it anymore. It's the belief that for every running problem, there's a special shoe out there that can fix it. Got flat feet? There's a shoe for that. Do your knees ache after a long run? Yep, there's a shoe for that too. And the superstar of this whole belief system, the one sitting right there in the middle of the running store wall, is the stability shoe. We're told that these shoes are these incredible marvels of engineering, that their guide rails and medial posts are the secret to unlocking pain-free miles, the scientifically proven answer to our supposedly faulty biomechanics, and millions of us buy into this every single year, totally convinced we're making the smart, responsible choice to keep injuries at bay. But what if I told you that for most of us, these expensive, high-tech shoes aren't just unnecessary, they might actually be the very thing causing your problems? What if the entire way we've been taught to choose our running shoes is built on a complete myth? Let's back up for a second. If you've been running for any amount of time, you've probably been through this whole ritual. You walk into a running shoe store and the first thing they do is put you on a treadmill or have you walk across a pressure mat. They watch your feet, analyze your gait on a tablet, and then they hit you with the diagnosis. The most common one, you overpronate. It just sounds bad, doesn't it? It sounds medical and serious. Overpronation. It implies your foot is doing something wrong, something broken that absolutely has to be fixed before you inevitably end up with a world of pain from shin splints to runner's knee. And the prescription almost every single time is a stability shoe. So what even is a stability shoe though? To put it simply, it's a shoe designed to stop your foot from rolling inward. The old school way was to use a medial post, which is really just a fancy way of saying they wedged a chunk of harder, denser foam into the inside of the shoe. The logic seems simple. Your foot rolls in, it hits this firm wall, and the motion gets blocked. It's basically a brute force approach to correcting your foot. Of course, the tech has gotten way fancier. Now we have guide rails, which are like bumpers in a bowling lane for your feet. Hoka has its J-frame, a hook of firm foam that cradles your heel. Asics has its 3D guidance system. But all of these things, from the old school post to the new frames, have the exact same goal: stop pronation and force your foot into a healthy, perfectly neutral position. The market for these shoes is massive. It's expected to be an $8 billion industry in 2025 alone. Brands like Brooks, Asics, and New Balances have built their empires on legendary stability shoes like the Adrenaline, the Kayano, and the 860. This all sounds pretty logical, right? Foot rolls in too much, so you put something there to stop it. Problem solved. This is the simple idea that has sold hundreds of millions of shoes all through time. But here's where things start to feel just off. This is the part so many of us have lived through. You get everything you're told. You get the gait analysis. You shell out 150, maybe 160 bucks for the top of the line stability shoe the experts swore you needed. You lace them up, you feel proud, feel like you're making a smart investment in your running health. And then you actually run in them. Maybe they feel okay at first, a little stiff perhaps, a bit clunky. You tell yourself they just need to be broken in. But then the weeks go by, the shoe still feels like it's fighting you, not working with you. That little twinge in your knee, the one the shoe was supposed to fix, it's still there. Or even worse, a new pain pops up, a weird ache in your hip, a sore IT band, maybe a pain in the outside of your foot. You did everything right. You bought the correct shoe and you're still in pain. Or maybe you're even in more pain. You feel frustrated, confused, and honestly a little bit cheated. I did. This feeling, this gap between the promise of the stability shoe and the reality of running in it, it is incredibly common, and it's because the problem they're built to solve might not actually be a problem at all. The entire stability shoe empire is built on one simple, powerful idea. Pronation is bad. It's a flaw in your stride that needs to be corrected. But the truth, which is backed by a growing mountain of modern science, is that pronation is not only normal, it's a vital, crucial part of how we run and how our foot moves when we run. Let's just bust the biggest myth right now. Pronation isn't a flaw. It's your body's natural shock absorption system. When your foot hits the ground, that inward roll helps spread out all the impact forces that shoot up your leg. It's a brilliant built-in feature of our bodies. Getting rid of pronation would be like telling someone to stop bending their knees when they land from a jump. It's the whole point. It's how you avoid getting hurt. It's how your body was made. But they call it over-pronation, implying too much of a good thing is a bad thing. So, but how much is too much? And who gets to actually decide? This leads to the second myth, that a quick 10-second gait analysis in a store can accurately tell you your future injury risk. The science just doesn't back this up. Study after study after study has shown that just looking at someone's feet roll is not a reliable way to predict if they'll get injured. There was a major study in 2013 from the British Journal of Sports Medicine that followed almost 1,000 new runners. They gave all of them a neutral shoe, no matter what their feet did. The results? The runners who pronated were no more likely to get injured than the neutral running runners. In fact, one group of pronators actually had a lower injury risk rate. Let that sink in for a second. The very thing we're told to correct was linked to fewer injuries in a huge study. And that wasn't just a fluke. A big review in 2014 looked at 21 different studies with over 6,000 athletes and found no significant link between a pronated foot and most common running injuries. So the evidence is pretty clear. The connection between what someone sees your foot do and your actual risk of getting hurt is flimsy at best. Your body is a master of compensation. You might pronate a lot, but you might also have a really strong hips that keep everything stable. A 10-second video on an iPad can't see any of that. Even the shoe industry is starting to quietly admit that the old way was wrong. Just look at how stability shoes themselves have changed. They used to be these rigid, orthopedic-feeling tanks designed to completely stop your foot from moving. But now, brands are shifting to gentler guidance systems. They use phrases like unobtrusive support. So why the change? Because these companies know that forcing the foot into a position it doesn't want to be in can just shove the stress somewhere else, like up to your knees or your hips. This has even created a whole new category of stable neutral shoes, which are basically neutral shoes built on a wider, more inherently stable base without any of the aggressive correction. The fact that this category even exists is a huge admission that the old neutral versus stability model was completely too simple and for a lot of people, just wrong. So if pronation isn't the big bad wolf we thought it was, and a gait analysis isn't some crystal ball, how in the world are you supposed to pick a shoe? The answer is both shockingly simple and a complete game changer. The single most important factor for choosing a shoe and the best predictor we have for preventing injury is comfort. And that's not just some feel-good, fluffy advice. It's based on solid research. A landmark 2015 paper, also in the British Journal of Sports Medicine, introduced a new way of thinking called the comfort filter and the preferred movement path. The idea is basically this. Your body has its own unique and efficient way it wants to move. An injury is more likely to happen when a shoe forces you out of that natural path. Similar to heel striking in this video up here. So how does your body know what its preferred path is? It tells you through comfort. When a shoe feels good, it's a signal from your nervous system that the shoe is working with your body. When it feels off, too stiff, too much pressure in the arch, a weird pinch somewhere, that's your body's alarm system screaming that the shoe is fighting with your natural stride. Think about trying to write with a pen that's just awkward. it's too thick, it's too thin, or just weirdly balanced. You can do it, but you have to tense up your hand, and after a while it starts to cramp, your handwriting off. A shoe that fights your stride does the exact same thing to your whole leg. The corrective stability shoe for a runner who doesn't actually need it is that awkward pin. Sure, it might be stopping your pronation, but it could be making your hip drop or your knee twist to make up for it. And the result is a brand new injury pops up somewhere else entirely. The comfort filter cuts through all the marketing nonsense. It puts the power back in your hands. You are the expert on your body. It's not about finding the shoe with the most tech. It's about finding the shoe that feels like it disappears on your foot, the one that lets your body move the way it was meant to. When you are trying on shoes, comfort is your only mission. A good fit is key, of course, snug in the middle, no slipping of the heel, and about a thumb's width of space at the end, but the feel is what really matters. Jog around the store a bit. How does the cushioning feel underfoot? How does the shoe roll from heel to toe? Trust that gut feeling. Research suggests that shoes that feel the most comfortable are the ones that let you move most naturally, and that is the real secret to staying healthy. Now, after all of that, you might be thinking I'm saying that stability shoes are just useless garbage, and that's not quite right. It's not that stability shoes are inherently bad, it's that they are a very specific tool that has been wildly overprescribed. Think of them like a powerful prescription drug. For the person who truly needs it, it can be a lifesaver. But if you're healthy, taking it can cause all sorts of new problems. So who is that person who might genuinely benefit from a stability shoe? The modern evidence-based view points to a pretty small and specific group of people, of runners. First, and most importantly, is the runner with a history of specific pronation-related injuries. This is the key difference. We're not trying to predict an injury based on how a foot looks. We are reacting to a known existing problem. If you've had a recurring battle with something like posterior tibial tendonitis, that nagging pain on the inside of your ankle and arch, and it's been professionally diagnosed and linked to your gait, then a stability shoe could be a great tool to help you manage it. Notice the key words there: history, recurring, and professionally linked. The second group is made up of runners who simply through trial and error find they feel better and more supported in a stability shoe, especially on their long runs. As you get tired late in a run, your form naturally starts to break down. For some people, the gentle support of a modern stability shoe just feels good when their muscles are fatigued. This goes right back to the comfort filter. If you've tried neutral shoes and consistently feel like you're falling apart late in your runs, and a mild stability shoe helps you feel better, then that's the right shoe for you. Your personal experience always trumps any rule. For everyone else, and let's be clear, this is the vast majority of us, especially new runners who don't have any injury history, a neutral shoe is the best and safest place to start. Remember that study showing overpronators are no more likely to get hurt in a neutral shoe? The default thinking should be completely flipped. Assume you're fine in a neutral shoe until your body and your running log tell you otherwise. Okay, so we've torn down the old broken system. Let's build a new, smarter one. This is your practical guide to finding the right running shoe for you. Step 1, forget the labels. Walk into that store and just mentally erase the neutral and stability categories from the wall. Don't ask for a certain type of shoe, just ask to try on a variety of shoes that might feel good. You might end up in a stability shoe, you might not. Let the feel of the shoe, not its marketing tag, be your guide. And stay away from having the employees analyze your gait. Say, just bring me a few of the popular shoes that you have. Step 2, make comfort your king. We've already hit this hard, but it's the most important rule of all. Try on at least 3 to 5 different models from different brands. A Saucony feels way different from a Hoka or a Brooks. Jog on their treadmill for more than 10 seconds. Pay attention to everything. Does your heel slip? Is the arch support a gentle suggestion? Or does it feel like a big lump under your foot? Does the cushioning feel protective, or does it feel like you're running on bricks? The shoe that feels the most invisible is probably going to be your winner. Step 3, listen to your running history. Your running log is a way better data set than any gait analysis will ever be. What shoes have you loved in the past? What shoes did you hate? What shoes were you wearing when and if you got injured? If you've run thousands of happy, pain-free miles in neutral shoes, don't let anyone convince you that you suddenly need correction. Your body has already cast its own vote. Step 4, embrace the rotation. This might be the most powerful science-backed injury prevention strategy that almost no one talks about. Stop looking for that one perfect shoe. Instead, get a rotation of 2 or 3 different pairs. One study showed that runners who rotated between multiple shoe models is key, had a 39% lower risk of injury than runners who stuck to just one pair. Why? Because different shoes change how the forces are distributed through your body. One shoe might load your knees a little bit more, another might load your calves a little bit more. By switching it up, you vary the stress, which prevents any one part of your body from getting hammered the exact same way every single day. It's like cross-training for your feet. This whole topic can be a huge aha moment for runners who've been following the old rules for years. So I really want to hear from you. What is the single worst or most confusing piece of running shoe advice you have ever received? Drop in the comments below. Let's share our stories and help each other figure all this out. And hey, if this video just saved you from spending another $160 on a pair of overbuilt shoes you didn't actually need, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and like button. I'm all about giving you research-backed advice to make you a smarter, healthier runner. If by chance you do have a current or recurring foot or ankle injury, make sure you check out my 12-week program. It's linked down in the description below. For decades, the running industry has sold us on the flawed idea that we need to find the right technology to fix our imperfect feet. But it's completely flipped now. The science now tells us the goal isn't to fix the foot, but to find the shoe that lets the foot do its natural thing. The most powerful tool for buying shoes isn't a high-speed camera or a pressure mat. It's you, it's your own experience, your own history, and most importantly, your own feeling of comfort. We need to stop letting someone in a store prescribe a shoe to us and instead start using our own feeling as the ultimate filter. The goal isn't to find the best shoe on the wall. The goal is to find the best shoe for your body. So stop trying to force your foot to fit a shoe. Find the shoe that fits your foot. Trust your body. It knows what it's doing.